About 6 months ago, I purchased a Philips Hue lighting system for my new OLED TV. I was very skeptical at first, but ended up loving it and even purchased more Hue lighting to go with it. Everything I showed about the Hue system in the original video still holds up, but after 6 months, I still really like it and think I might be able to add a few more tips and suggestions to help you decide if it's something that you want for your setup or not. So let's take a look. Here's a super quick overview. The Philips Hue light strip mounts to the back of your TV via double-sided tape and brackets. One of the brackets kept falling off after just a few weeks, so I replaced the tape on just that one with much stronger tape, and none have fallen off since. And that's even after moving the TV multiple times up and downstairs. More on that later. The strip itself is powered by an AC power brick, and it connects wirelessly to the Philips Hue bridge. The bridge is about $50, and if you already have one for other Hue lighting, you could just use that. No need for two. Then you need to figure out how to connect the light strip to your TV. Newer LG and Samsung TVs can connect wirelessly via an app. You could either buy a license for $130 to use the app forever, or pay $3 monthly. Definitely check to see if your TV is compatible with the app, and if not, you'll need to buy an HDMI box for just under $400. The HDMI box also acts as an HDMI switch, supporting 4 inputs, and I've been told that it reacts faster to what's on screen than the app, slightly improving the overall experience. I'll admit that if my TV didn't have the Hue app built in, I would have never spent the extra money to do this, even if the HDMI box does perform a little bit better. The light strips for 77-inch TVs cost over $200, so if you need to buy the bridge, the HDMI box, and some extra lighting, you're pushing $1,000. For lights. Speaking of which, I also decided to get 2 bulbs for the back of my room, as well as a wireless switch to control the bulbs, bringing the total I've spent to just about $500, including the 6 months of app cost. And I think it really adds to the room. Let's go over that next. I think to get some perspective, I should show exactly how I use the Hue system that I have here. Just a warning though, with the camera angles aimed directly at the TV, the panel's light ends up overpowering the Hue's light, and on the flip side, when the camera is at an angle, the Hue's light looks much brighter than it actually is. So you'll have to just listen to the descriptions and kind of use your imagination in order to figure out how it really blends in, but hopefully with both examples, you'll be able to put them together in your brain and kind of get a feel for what I see here in this room. But let's take a look. Before sitting down to watch something important to me or sink into a game, I'll power on the lights with the wireless remote switch that I stuck to my wall with the tape it came with. I configured the switch to only power on the light bulbs and not the TV's strip, so I could just use them as basic lights with the ability to change brightness right from the switch. Then I'll close all the blinds in the room, power on the back speakers, and go sit down. I'll power on the TV, but I have the app set to not automatically sync when the TV is powered on. This is handy as it lets me leave the back lights on as I'm still setting up, and also sometimes I just want to watch a quick video and don't need a cinematic experience like the Hue's trying to give me. Once I'm ready to watch something, I'll go to the Hue app on my TV, set the brightness, then hit the sync button. All 3 lights sync together and everything starts matching the TV. I accomplished all of this by spending a great deal of time in the Hue apps, both on my phone and on the TV. Nothing was really intuitive, but eventually I was able to configure everything exactly how I wanted to, and I don't have any real complaints from the control side. Also, after configuring, I almost never need to open the Hue app on my phone for anything. Look, I'll completely admit, while that workflow is really handy and does absolutely allow for the right amount of light in the room, right up until the point that you're ready to either start watching or playing, the nerdy cool factor is equally as awesome. I love it when people come over to watch TV or something and say, "Hey, you want me to hit the lights?" And I go, "No, I got this." And then just hit the button with the remote. What could I say? I'm a giant nerd. And that's it. The entire lighting of the room matches what's on screen, and most of the time, you don't even notice it's there. The best way to describe how it looks in this room is it sort of gives off the feel that you're in a movie theater. Kind of like when the light of the projector brightens the theater in bright scenes and dims the theater in dark scenes. When I did the LG C4 video, I don't think I explained that point good enough. Many people just couldn't get why I'd spend $500 to barely notice anything, but that's kind of the point. So often in my previous setup, when scenes went from dark to really bright, it felt like a 77-inch flashlight was burning my eyes. And if I just left a dim lamp on when a scene went from bright to dark, the color of the lamp's light almost never matched what was on screen, which is fine, but sometimes the low-quality dim light was really noticeable. And while I could totally live without the hue, I've watched half a movie with it on and the other half with it off, and I definitely liked it better on. Here, in this room, in this setup. Which brings me to the next section, when you might not want to use the hue. Since I'm constantly testing new equipment, I'm often moving my setup around. A lot. And one of the things I wanted to try is to see how that 77-inch TV looked in my living room. Unfortunately, I forgot to get footage of that. However, I could use the TV that's currently there now as an example. Just keep in mind that it's smaller at 65-inch and the panel is curved, so it won't throw off as much light off to the side as a standard flat panel would due to the curvature. I think you'll be able to get what I mean though. Anyway, the 77-inch screen came right up to the edges of the bookshelf here, making the side lighting nearly impossible to see. I tried moving the bookshelves farther apart so the distance from the edge of the TV was about the same as this TV here, but it didn't really make a difference. The reason for that was the light from the TV's panel would reflect off the sides of the bookshelf brighter than the hue. Sure, I got some light on top and some on the sides, but it was basically useless in this scenario. So I once again recruited my friend Patrick to move the TVs around. This poor guy gets dragged into all my experiments, but he's a fellow nerd, so I think he enjoys it sometimes. I've been rearranging the office down here for some more experiments, and when we put the TV back, I mounted it to the wall since the rack was moved. Everything about this setup is better than before, but I found myself enjoying the hue at its lowest setting, 10%. In the C4 video, I had it set to 30% since the TV was a few feet from the wall in that setup. But as I said before, I like the hue lighting to blend into the TV's light, not overpower it. And since I like to watch content that's important to me in a dark room with the window shades down, the brightness of the hue has to be down as well. And I guess the panel of my TV too. So I guess that's my recommendation. If your TV is between the bookshelves like in my living room, the hue probably isn't a good choice. And if you like some natural light in your room, I think turning up the hue's brightness would work well. Obviously, the brighter the room, the brighter the setting should be, but of course there's a point where too bright of a room makes the rear lamps useless. So if you like watching TV in really bright rooms, either just get the TV strip or maybe put the hue bulbs in the front of the room where you could see them. To be honest, all of that extra light in front of you just seems like a big distraction to me, but I've never actually tried it, so who knows, maybe I would love two bright giant bulbs in the front corners of my room instead of the back. But either way, if you're in a room that's very bright, maybe just skip the hue altogether. Either way, those are all of my opinions on it. Unfortunately, I don't have any hands-on experience with Philips Hue TV lighting alternatives, but I get the concepts of a bunch of them, so I wanted to talk about a few here. First, the company Govee is a direct competitor and makes much cheaper products. Some work by mounting a camera at the top of your screen that uses a fisheye lens to capture the light color of the screen and translate it in real time to the light strip. And they also offer a version with an HDMI input box, and the complete kit is just the cost of the Hue's light strip. If any of you own one of the Govee systems, or more importantly, if you've seen both the Govee and the Hue in person, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I wish I had the budget and the time to test all of these things, and who knows, maybe if I could ever get sponsored for this, I could do a deep dive video on all of the solutions and show their differences, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on it as well. There's also a company called Medialight that goes about this a different way. It doesn't try to match what's on your TV, so no camera app or HDMI box, it just tries to provide quality light via TV light strips as well as bulbs. Light quality is actually something that would require a full video to truly explain, but I'll oversimplify here. Basically, Medialight's goal is to supply high-quality, flicker-free light around the TV that will help reduce eye strain without terrible LED colors messing with your eyes and therefore the viewing experience. So it's not at all like Hue, but something else you might want to think about if you get eye strain when watching TV. I think when I end up switching to a projector, I'll buy their bulbs for the back of my room and leave them on the dimmest setting for ambient light, ambient quality light. One last mention, those ultra cheap light strips you see at Target are probably complete junk and the opposite of media light. I assume based on price they give off low quality colors and tons of flicker due to the cheap LEDs used. And look, maybe crazy color strips are fun for music visuals and parties and stuff like that, but I personally would never even consider using them for TV or movies. But maybe I'm missing something. Let me know in the comments what you think. And also, keep in mind, I only found out about the Govee and the Medialight solutions from you awesome commenters. So I definitely read all of them, and I really appreciate all the insight. So after 6 months of using a Philips Hue TV lighting system in 3 different room configurations, I could honestly say that I'm very happy I spent the money on it. And in a configuration like this, I really think it adds to the experience. I'll be honest though, if I wasn't a product reviewer on the quest for one setup to rule them all, I would have never risked the money on a setup like this, but I'm very glad I did. I think if you have a room dedicated to watching movies or gaming on a really nice flat panel TV, it's something you should at least consider. I wouldn't recommend buying it at the sacrifice of something else though. For example, don't buy a lesser quality TV or projector in order to have extra money left over for TV lighting. Definitely get your main display and audio set up first, then think about adding something like this in the future. Also, maybe start with just the TV light strip, then only add more bulbs if you feel it would fit the room. Or if you've got a big budget, go all out and even get those new front lights too and see what you think. Who knows, maybe that'll make it even more awesome. I'd certainly be curious to see how all of that extra lighting looked in this room, but I always have to make sure I'm focused on whatever projects and research I'm doing for RetroRGB, so I might end up having to sell all of this stuff in order to get in a new set of test equipment. I'm really curious about how projectors would look with retro and modern content, the same way I did the video for the C4 OLED, and small reviewers don't get stuff sent to them, so I would have to sell off this in order to have the budget to get the new stuff. I'm only mentioning that because if you see all this stuff disappear in future videos, it's not because I didn't like the C4 or the Hue lighting, it's just because I needed the budget to start testing the next thing. And speaking of money, this video isn't sponsored in any way, and I paid for all of this myself. I'll post affiliate links in the description for everything I bought, which allow you to buy this at no additional cost to you. And I hope if you do buy these, you'll take the time to click through those links, or just clicking on the general Amazon affiliate link on the website support page to help out. If you appreciate the research I do and want to support further, monthly support services like Floatplane and Patreon are truly what keeps this channel going, and I can't thank those supporters enough. Lastly, if you'd like to advertise to everyone around you that you're a fellow nerd, pick up some RetroRGB merch. There's t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and a bunch more fun stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.